Hello, everyone. This is Sanjeev Tyagi, and this is day 14 of the 30-day live challenge that we are hosting. So, the topic for today is emotional honesty versus emotional dumping, and knowing the difference and owning the power, right? Knowing the difference, owning the power. So, I have a question for you today. Are you sharing your truth, or are you just transferring your pain, right? So let me ask you this straight up. When you open up emotionally to someone, are you freeing yourself, or are you flooding them, right? Are you freeing yourself, or are you flooding them with all of that you want to say? Because there's a fine line between being emotionally honest and emotionally dumping. One one brings people closer, and the other pushes them away. And here's the thing: most people don't even realize that they've crossed the line. It's true, not very many people realize this. So today we are going to be going deep on this, right? Because emotional vulnerability is powerful. It is, but only when it is conscious, only when it is honest, not heavy, right? So we're going to be breaking this open, wide open. And by the end of this live, you will have the clarity, the language, and the power to know the difference between the two: the emotional honesty and the emotional dumping. All right, so let's dive in. So why this matters more than you think. We all want to be seen, right? We all want to be heard. We all want to be felt. It's a common human um, feeling or intention, right? Or a need. But sometimes, in the name of authenticity, we end up unloading on people, right? We don't check if they're ready. We don't pause to ask if we are actually processing, or we are just projecting, right? And when that happens, something sacred gets lost. And the thing that gets lost, has a potential to get lost, is trust. The thing that gets lost is safety. The thing that gets lost is connection. Because people do not like when somebody dumps their thoughts, their emotions on them. Nobody likes it. You won't like it, right? So these are the things that do get lost in the process: the trust, the safety, the connection. And on the flip side, when we bottle it up, right, we explode. So there has to be some balance between the two: emotional honesty and emotional dumping, right? What's the balance? So how do you share what's real without making someone else carry what you haven't yet held yourself, actually, right? How do you make that happen? How do you share what's real for you without actually making someone else carry what you haven't held yourself yet, right? That's what we are here to figure out today. So let's begin with the grounding ritual, as we normally do. And we're going to call this grounding ritual today, breathe before you break open, right? Breathe before you break open. So let's put our hands on our chest. And take a deep breath in and out from your mouth. One more, and out again. And now repeat. My emotions are real. My expression is my responsibility, right? My emotions are real, and my expression is my responsibility. And say it again. I can be honest and still be gentle. I can be honest and still be gentle. Again, take a long deep breath and out. And sit with this for a second, with this thought. I can be honest and I can still be gentle. And let's hold this energy as we move forward, right? Because here's what we need to understand, that emotional honesty liberates, whereas emotional dumping disempowers. And it happens both ways, right? It happens for you. If you are having an emotional honesty, then it will feel liberating for you, and it'll also feel uplifting for the people you're sharing with, right? But if you're doing the emotional dumping on one hand, then it is disempowering to you, and also uneasy and disempowering to the person you're dumping on. So it's both ways, right? So let's get to the heart of it. Emotional honesty is about ownership, while emotional dumping is about displacement, right? So one says, here's what I'm feeling. So that's the part where emotional honesty is coming, right? It will sound something like that. Here's what I'm feeling, and here's where I'm at. Whereas if you look at emotional dumping, it'll be very much like, here, hold this, because I can't handle it. That's the difference, right? Both are valid. There's nothing wrong with doing it that way. It could just be that you are in an emotional state where that's the only response that you know. That does not make you bad, right? There are people who will keep on telling you, you should behave this, you should behave that way. Forget it. You should behave the way your heart is telling you in any given moment. Of course, you need to think about it and get into the state where the automatic response that comes from you within is in harmony with the positive outcome. But let's say you are not in that state of mind. Do you just kill yourself with all the emotions locked in you? No. Do what you need to do to express yourself however it needs to, right? So that's why I say both the options are valid, both the expressions are valid, but one leads to healing, and you know which one, right? Out of the two, only one leads to healing, and the other could potentially lead to pain. You can always come out of the pain, right? But you will have to switch to the other one to actually heal. So, emotional honesty. And emotional honesty involves awareness, right? So let's look at actually the difference between the two, the key differences. One, emotional honesty, like I said, involves awareness. Like you've taken a moment, right? You've checked in with yourself, and you're now reacting, you're revealing, right? And it sounds very much like, I've been feeling overwhelmed lately, and I think it's tied to something that I haven't processed. That's what emotional honesty looks like. Can I share something vulnerable with you? It comes with the self responsibility. It creates space, not burden, right? It's aiming for, it's aware of the timing, it's aware of the context, and it's also aware of the content. That's what emotional honesty is. Emotional dumping, on the other hand, is reactionary and unfiltered, right? This is when your emotions spill out very much like an overflowing cup. There's no container, no request, right? Just release. And it sounds very much like, you never listen to me, right? Everything is always about you. And I'm tired of this. And no one understands me, and this and that, right? Those kind of statements are very much like emotional dumping. It's raw, it's real, but it's raw. And it's often not helpful. I have been on both the sides myself. And I can tell you from experience that emotional honesty feels so much better and good compared to emotional dumping. But there are times when even discussing or talking about emotional honesty would feel like you want to slap the other person talking about it, because all that you want to do in that moment is to release. There's something inside you that needs to come out. And in that case, emotional dumping could be your way. You release it, you get it out, stabilize yourself, and then switch to emotional honesty, and then recover from there. There is always a way, no matter where you are. But one feels draining and the other feels fulfilling, refreshing, right? Emotional honesty invites connection, right? It brings other people into your world. It lets them understand you without being swallowed by your experience, right? And you say things like, I'm not asking you to fix it, I just want you to know what's going on inside of me. And that's something that my wife does that's so good. You know, I have been in basically a short tempered person. You know, I try not to be anymore, but that's how I was. And she knows is it best how to handle it. And that's one of the ways she does it. I'm not asking you to fix it, I just want you to know what I am going through and what's going on inside of me. And it immediately drops the guard, right? So emotional honesty could also look like, I need space to process, right? I need space to process. And can I talk through it with you, right? It's intimacy, right? It's no intensity is there, right? Number 4, emotional dumping often comes from suppressed emotions. That's where the home for those dumping is, right? Dumping is often when when happens when emotional honesty has been voided for too long, right? That's when dumping happens. It's like an emotional backlog, to so as to say, right? Years of unspoken truth that's embedded inside of you, and now crashing through that dam. That's what happened. It's not a flaw, right? It's a signal. It's a signal that it means that it's time to start practicing honesty, maybe in smaller, safer, but regular ways, right? Before it before that dam explodes. So that's what it is, right? And the receiver's consent matters in emotional honesty, right? Honesty honors the space that you're entering. It doesn't just barge in. On the other hand, emotional dumping does. So before unloading, ask yourself, do you have space for me to share something hard right now? That's emotional honesty, right? That single statement right there, right? Do you have space for me to share something with you? That single statement is the difference between being experienced as safe or experienced as overwhelming, right? You could project yourself as being the safe person to talk to or interact with, or you could project yourself as the overwhelming personality. Choice is yours. What do you want in your family, in amongst the people that you love and care about, right? It's your choice. But one is going to make you a hero in their life, and the other is going to make you the opposite of that. Your choice. I'm telling you what's the difference between when you honestly express yourself and when you're just dumping. What's the difference and how you can handle this? So, so we're going to move to the soul questions for today, and we'll see um, how they pan out, what they reveal about you, right? So let's start with question one. Question one is, when was the last time you were emotionally honest and it felt good, right? When was the last time you were emotionally honest and it felt good? Because this helps you reconnect with a moment when vulnerability created closeness, right? You were vulnerable enough that you expressed yourself in that state, and that created a bond between the people or the person you shared yourself with and you. So, when was the last time this happened? Because it reminds you that emotional honesty is not scary, right? It's it's sacred. That's what it is. Question two, when was the last time you dumped, right? And you felt shame or regret after that? When was the last time it happened? And this question, it invites you to notice your emotional patterns, your emotional patterns, but without judgment, right? Because if you're judging, you're losing the point of the question anyways. No judgment. However it is, raw, scary, whatever, just write it. It helps you learn about yourself, your pattern, your emotions, your beliefs, right? So when was the last time you dumped and felt shame or regret for it? Third question, what would it look like to express your truth with both, right? Fire and grace, both sides of the coin. Now this opens the door to new standards, new understanding, right? Where truth doesn't need to be diluted. It doesn't need to be diluted, but it is delivered with care. That's the door that it opens for you. It helps you imagine a version of you that's honest and emotionally wise, right? That's what it allows you to do. So you become a witness to that wise state of yourself that is able to balance the expression between the fire and the grace and it's sitting right there in the center, ready to lean wherever it needs to, but it knows where to balance. That's the version, right? So ask yourself this question: what would it take to look, or what would it look like to express yourself, your truth in that manner, right? So, so that's our those are the three questions that I would encourage you to write answers to. Again, honestly, right? Emotional honesty is what we are talking about. I expect you to do this honestly. I did that. I found the answers, and I feel that I'm emotionally wise today as a result of it. Choice is yours. I can't force you, but see, when you do it, you will see the experience, you will see the difference, you will feel different. Your emotional state will change, your energetic state will change, your relationship will change, not only with others, but with yourself first, and then it'll change with others as well. So try it out. Try these three questions and let us know, right? So now let's move to the transformation, the micro transformation practice we do at the end of the life, towards the end of the life every day. And today we are going to call it the emotional integrity check-in, right? The emotional integrity check-in. That's the practice for today. You need to do. You, I urge you to do, right? So next time when you feel the urge to share, pause. So that's the practice. Next time when you feel that you want to share something, pause and ask yourself, what do I need right now to be heard, to be supported? Or is it just to be witnessed? Right? What is my real need? What do I need right now? To be heard, to be supported, or to be witnessed? Right? And ask the other person if they have the space for it. That's important because otherwise it'll become dumping, right? So first you understand what you need, and then you ask the other person if they have the space for that expression, right? And then speak your truth. Speak your truth in a way that still honors their truth, right? Be aware of that. And this practice alone, just this practice alone, can shift how safe you feel in all your relationships, right? Just try it out. Just try with one person today. Just try with yourself. Stand in front of the mirror and let the person in the mirror be the other person and then talk. This practice is going to make you see and feel the shift within yourself. And then try it out with someone who is close to you, and then do it this way, exactly like this, right? First understand where you are, and then ask them if it is okay for you to share what you're feeling with them, and then see their response. Look in their eyes and then see what how they feel, how they respond, how they react. You will see a change, guaranteed, right? It could be, what happened to you today? Are you okay? Well, that's the change. Look for it, right? Look out for it, but do this. So tomorrow's live, again, we are going to be talking about a subject that I will not reveal to you today, but it's going to be something powerfully transforming. Hope that all these lives have been transforming in your life up until now. But every day is going to be something new, something that actually helps you move forward. Because up until now we've been talking about the estrangement, and perhaps we got too deep into it, and I don't want this to be just about estrangement, right? I want it to be the reason that leads to those estrangement also. try the fact that we do not understand ourselves, our energy, our emotionality, is the reason for that estrangement, right? So instead of just talking about that aspect of it, let us also talk about what leads to those things. So getting a grip on our emotional state is also a part of it, and that's what we are doing today. We are trying to understand our emotional state, whether we are in the positive state or in the negative state, right? So that's why I'm going to leave that tomorrow's live, um, and I'll think about it today, what I'll be sharing tomorrow, right? So today we are going to end it here, and tomorrow, like I said, it's going to be a new day. So if you like the live today, please share one insight or an aha moment that you found in today's live, and then share it in the comments below. like like I always say, tag a friend who is learning to express emotions with clarity and with care, right? Share it with them, and join the sibling group that we have, the Healing Sibling Bonds Facebook group, and subscribe to the YouTube channel with the same name, Healing Sibling Bonds. And for more information, you can always visit simplifiedrelations.com for tools, rituals, and the real support, which is obviously in the making right now. I'm building it. I'm building tools and rituals that I have it for myself. I just want to put them on the site so that they can be readily available for you as well. And remember the word hope, right? That is our motto. Help one person every day. Hope. Maybe today that person is you, and maybe tomorrow it's someone who finally hears your truth and stays. All right. So that's it for tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. You have a great day, great night, great evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. All right. Thank you very much. Namaste.